Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me as always, and here really to fill me in on what happened this weekend, because I was deep down in a hole of NBA-ness. And Andy, how was football? Did you win? Did you lose? What even happened?
Chalky, pretty chalky. Even though I did put a little bet on the Seattle Seahawks last night. That looked like a really stupid move on my part after winning all my bets. What the last thing you should ever do is add a Sunday night bet. But I kept looking at the number. I said, I'm doing it anyway. It looked like an incredibly stupid bet. Seattle ended up covering anyway. So I'm going to keep that train rolling. I'll probably add a bet tonight. I mean, the Sunday and Monday night games I had edges on. I just wasn't quite sure what to do with it. There's some extenuating circumstances tonight we'll get into. I'll probably write a piece on that later. But yes, it's going to be a hell of a week. We got a possible sports equinox. We're going to get NBA Alex out and shining all week for sure. And definitely more baseball. The baseball's been good. 2 walk-offs for the Braves. Yeah, the football was chalky. There's some nasty blowouts, but there was still some excitement. A couple overtime games. Neither of them probably should have gone to overtime. And if you are here in the YouTube chat, do not forget to thumbs up, subscribe, and hang out with us all the time. We'll see you here this time every day this week. Noops, are you excited for NBA?
I am, and just quickly, I will say, so if maybe you feel a little bit better about your slightly degenerate bet, I may or may not have had the football game on in pieces beforehand, done something I love to do, a 3-team teaser on the same game, Andy. You take a team, you go for the middle on the total, so I think I had like Steelers +1 with 37 and 94, so everything worked out nicely there. Good night for degen bets.
I don't mind that. I don't hate those at all. Yeah, no, I was degen. I wouldn't say it's degen betting, although these are for smaller amounts. But I live bet the piss out of a Sunday. I probably close to 20 live bets just in the afternoon games. And some of them multiple on the same game on the same side or the same total. So I have a lot of fun on Sundays. That's why I don't check my fantasy scores until Monday, because I don't care.
Smart.
I have other things going on.
There's nothing more painful than a fantasy score at 2:30 in the afternoon that's different at 6:30. But
nobody wants to see that. So I will say, obviously, NBA does not start today. Tomorrow, I'm sure you'll have some bets. Go over and check out Alex's. Maybe, I don't know. If you don't, I will. If you won't bet NBA tomorrow,
I mean, it's a Nets game. If last year's any record, we might have a total.
Yeah, we can get into that. So we'll get into that tomorrow for sure. But as many of you know, BETSPERTS has a few months ago acquired 4for4 for fantasy football content. They're branching out into NBA betting, hopefully some NBA DFS eventually here too. And they got themselves a pretty nice article up by none other than Alex Christenson, the Flying Dane. That is not your nickname, nor are you Danish. I know. I want to make you Danish, and I want to give you.
I had a teacher in 5th grade that asked me if I was Danish, and I wasn't sure, so I just said yes, and I went with it for like half the year, and my parents blew it at a parent-teacher conference.
Yeah, it's very, very Italian actually when it comes to.
You got to stick with the lie, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. Either way, he did write a very nice article. It basically covers all the awards markets. We've touched on some of those over that. You can look for that over on 4for4. It is free content on their site right now. Check that out. Obviously, we had a conversation, Drew and I, with Josh from Punt School. Yes. That is on the YouTube channel. You can find that. That was about an hour with him. Went over a bunch of topics for the season. That's also in podcast form. You can check that out as well. And then real quick, let's do a recap of Win Total Wednesday. I didn't realize we'd been doing it this long. You have like 9 of these.
I think I'm pretty sure most of these came out on the show. There might be a couple on here that floated out at some different times, and yeah, there's going to be more. We'll do another recap of some other stuff tomorrow. I won't touch on all these. As you mentioned, I did a piece for 4for4. Go through and read that. It's just kind of a quick hit, like a 6 article in one kind of thing for the awards markets. And later today, there'll be another one coming out where I go through my win projections, share all that. So if you want some more detail on what you see on the screen, feel free to go back and try to find the Wednesday shows. But maybe save yourself a little bit of time. Check out that article. It should be out later this afternoon, again, on the 4for4 site. I'll go through my projections, and I'm pretty sure I hit on all of these. I'll touch on them quickly now again, though. Brooklyn over. We love the Nets. It's a great team. I don't care if Kyrie Irving shows up or not. If Kyrie Irving is there, it's the best roster in the NBA. If he's not there, it's one of the best rosters in the NBA. They have the least 6 and 9s, the least 5 and 7s, some of the least amount of travel of any team. It's an easy schedule. Really got a lot of favors. Love that over. The Clippers, this makes less sense to me than any number in the entire market. It's Paul George and a pretty uninspiring roster. If Paul George misses any time or any of these guys start to slip a little bit, I think this team is not only under 500 in terms of win record, they might miss the playoffs. So I love this under 45.5. Portland making the tragic mistake of trying to placate a star who thought about getting traded. Dame Lillard complained. They went through, they fired one of the more successful and productive coaches in the NBA over the last 5 to 10 years, replaced him with a first-time head coach, and made a couple moves that made the roster, frankly, a little bit worse. Everyone got a little bit older. I am happily fading Portland this year. Again, it's always a red flag for me when organizations start doing goofy things to keep their star players in town. Washington had the best offseason of anyone. Westbrook's out, Kuzma's in. They have more shooting, more defense. Signed Spencer Dinwiddie. Schedule's relatively easy. Love the over there. Memphis. Go ahead, Andy. Jeff, something there?
Oh, I did the get out of here, Russell Westbrook.
That's right. That's true. And if you want to laugh in the awards column thing, they had to take it out. But the part before Russell Westbrook, I don't know why he's 25-1 to be MVP, but that's one of the funniest things I read this weekend. Memphis over 41.5 wins. They're projected to take a step backwards. I'm not sure why. I know they lose Jonas Valanciunas, who, it's tough to do statistical analysis like this. If you just look on paper and take him out, yes, it's a worse team, but you have to consider the fact that they have 3 young big men ready to step in and fill those minutes. Valanciunas is very good, but in a way sort of holds that team back. I think it's a deep team again. Morant will be healthy all season. I don't think a lot of people were aware he was carrying various injuries together for the season. Love that over there. Detroit under 25.5 wins. They're one of the worst rosters in the NBA already. It might get worse. 25.5 means they'll win less than 30% of their games. More than happy to lock that up. Atlanta over 46.5 wins. McMillan for a whole year. Hunter's healthy. We saw how good they were last year and how adaptable they were when injuries came through. We're going to have a lot of injuries again this year, folks, and I'm happy to take a deep team like the Hawks here to go over. The Raptors are finally back in Toronto. There's no more tanking. We'll see what Ujiri does. There's a slight chance maybe he tries to trade some folks here, but really like this over 35.5. And the Indiana Pacers over 42.5. I know a bunch of the guys in the NBA chat, especially my buddy D-Money, Dwayne, really likes this one. It's a better team. They made the single best coaching upgrade of the offseason, bringing in Rick Carlisle over Nate Bjorklund. Just a really nice, solid team there. So I'll take the over. And, I saw a question in the chat there, Andy, in the YouTube chat. Yes, you can parlay these together if you want. I'm not saying that you should, but now that the idea has popped into my head, I might, put $1 on that or something like that.
You'll feel pretty stupid if they all hit and you didn't put like $5 in this. I mean, maybe just skip the coffee today and make a 9-leg par. I'm not saying do that. Actually, don't do that. I'm gonna have to too. I'm gonna feel so much regret when it does hit. I do like all those, mostly because I don't know any better, and you've made good cases for them with your words. So I'm fine with that. But what site can you parlay them? I'm not sure. You might have to play around with that. I know there's
I was gonna say, bet you
will not let you parlay that.
Bovada might let you do that. Bet Online might let you do that. Some of the legals maybe. Poke around. I'll let anybody know if I find that. But yeah, go ahead. Go back to older shows if you want to hear more on that, or look for my article again on 4 for 4 this afternoon. That'll have a little more detailed write-ups on all that. Looks like Patrick's taking bets, so we can run our parlays through Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick is taking action on that. Like I mentioned, oh man, I'm 2-1 in the postseason now in baseball. I lost that silly bet on a really, really exciting game 5 there. I haven't got into the CS series much yet, but I am taking the over tonight. Astros will head up to Boston, shipping up to Boston, as they say. They are a small underdog. I am going to be on the over 9 here. Boston is the best hitting team in the playoffs so far. As far as batting average goes, I mean, there's a lot of other ways, and I'm very simple. I will take simple batting average. I'm not smart enough in baseball to know what's going on. Urquidy has not pitched in the postseason yet. I don't think it's been a couple weeks since he's been on the mound. They've had to shuffle stuff around. Houston ripped through some of their bullpen the other night when they got just shelled out of the get-go. I don't expect Boston to have multiple grand slams before we get to the 5th inning again, but it wouldn't hurt. I would love that, actually. That would be awful nice. So, and obviously, what can you say about the Houston offense other than they have a bunch of really good players that have been there forever? It seems like it's been like 5 years of Correa and Altuve. So just need to basically, there's going to be some home runs. I just need some people on base when they happen here. So over 9, I'm expecting probably some other smart people to be on this as well. That kind of pushed me in that direction. It's the only game on tonight outside of the, obviously football. I think there might be a college game too. And yeah, I'm just going to send Patrick.
It's pretty much
$5.
always a college game now.
I feel like that's true.
It's nice. Well done, NCAA.
Yeah, I did. I kind of forgot. There's the Bills and Titans. I'm probably going to lay it with the Bills here, honestly. Like
I forget that.
I know. I found a
Well, maybe you did. I don't know. There's too much going on.
Truthfully, I did already bet the 6. I'll be writing something up on that to kind of explain my reasoning there. But man, I can't get this number anywhere close to a 6. So I bet the Bills. I found a flat 6 minus 108. I think this morning I put it in on BETSPERTS. If you follow me over on BETSPERTS, you would have got a nice little alert letting you know that Andy is continuing to press his luck on this weekend where he's finally running good. High total. There's a ref crew that calls quite a few penalties. I'm kind of digging into that. Somebody brought it up in a comment, and then I asked Hack,
tell Lockie.
Sports Hack there. He has a pretty good database of just because he bets into these penalty props, but I'm not 100% sure a lot of penalties is bad for a favorite or an over or good for, it really depends what kind of penalties they are. Are they drive extending penalties?
Good for an over, right?
Yeah,
they're just going to call holding every time.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that. Although Drew brought it up yesterday, there is a little proclivity by these refs to call offensive pass interference this weekend, which has been very annoying. So hopefully they got that out of their system, and I'm expecting a lot of points by my Bills. Hopefully all the first touchdown scorers are Buffalo Bills, right? That's not true. It's not going to be. Yeah,
I do think there's going to be a lot of points. Like you said, the total's high, but man, it's hard. These two teams, what they want to do offensively matches up so well. I mean, the Bills want to throw the ball. The Titans are, that's open to that, or, you can take advantage of them that way. And at the same time, Tennessee wants to run and the Bills give up rushing touchdowns. Like, it's movable objects and stoppable forces. Something like that. I really screwed that up. That was a bad job. Anyway, we'll try to do
run that back next weekend. Yeah.
All right. Hopefully the producer can clip that. Bills, this isn't live, is it?
KC plays Tennessee this weekend, so we'll do it again. We'll do the resistible force, movable object thing once we get to the weekend here. Right. But yeah, 4 of these, and I'll take Beasles.
Yeah, it's as you look at it, as I mentioned, if you're going to try to score against the Tennessee Titans, it's awfully been through the passing game. A lot of times I like to pick tight ends, but they've been very good against the tight ends. As you start to go back and look, the Tennessee coaching staff generally does a good job planning and building around that. Now, the tough part here is we've got Stephon Diggs. He is, probably the most likely person to score the first touchdown for the Bills. But as you start to go ahead here and look, I really like Sanders at this number 12-1. This would be single digits. He gets as many, if not more, targets than Diggs does, especially as they get to be a little bit closer. Again, as your defense and your planning, you start with Diggs and you work your way down. Sanders is getting more attention, given how solid he's been this season, but not nearly as much as Diggs has. At the same time, Beasley, this one at 16-1, this one's a little more of, honestly, a little bit of jump in faith here. He has not been targeted a ton in the red zone, but looking through the Titans and again, kind of what they give up, those third receivers, those guys underneath have actually been pretty good. Again, there's so much attention. It looks like they're paying to the top wide receivers and the tight ends, that there's spots there where somebody like Beasley can kind of sneak in. So we'll take both Bills wide receivers here up at the top. And then as you look at trying to score against this Bills team, this one's tough. They give up a lot of rushing touchdowns. It's probably going to be Derrick Henry. I'm not betting Derrick Henry at 4-1. It's just not who I am as a person. You want to put him in a same game parlay, bet him yourself, go for it. Just not going to do it. But they do give up a solid. They're in the top half of the league in terms of giving up touchdowns to the tight ends, and Ferkser is top 3 in terms of targets inside the 10-yard line here. So I'm really happy to grab him at 28-1, and he's sort of separated himself a little bit from some of these other tight ends, as it seems to be kind of the top tight end the last few weeks. So similar to the last couple times, I would grab a few tight ends. I'm happy just to grab him here. And then Jeremy McNichols. This was a really nice number to me. He's the backup running back for the Titans. Again, you can rush on the Bills. I'm not expecting this to be a rushing touchdown for McNichols. I would love to be wrong about that and have the first touchdown be a rushing touchdown for him. But second, I believe, in targets. I'd have to double check. I closed out of that, unfortunately. But second or third in targets, pretty close to the top guy anyway in Tennessee. Again, inside the 20, inside the 10. They really love to use him in the passing game. And I think this is just a really solid number. I have him closer to 20. So Sanders, Beasley, Berkshire, and McNichols. 2 Bills, 2 Titans. So that's pretty good. I got both sides covered.
And I did look at this because I was digging into some stuff earlier. McNichols has multiple red zone carries this year. Like, even with Derrick Henry on the roster, he has 3 red zone carries. Like, there are times where they say, we're not going to rush Derrick Henry, right now. We're going to go with the backup. So, I mean, it is a thing that does happen, and that's a big number, especially for somebody who gets used in the passing game and the screen game quite a bit. Speaking of that, I did kind of look at how things are hashing out in that sense. And yes, there should be a lot of deep passing, and yes, these teams will do that. But on top
longest
of that,
touchdown over?
Yeah, longest
I don't ever look at that.
Probably 40 something, I would assume. But for my PrizePicks entry, I went with both running backs in the receiving game. Both of these numbers I had low. I like to look at them all, kind of run them past my numbers, and then I double check with the 4for4 PrizePicks prop tool, which is something they have probably behind a paywall. I am a premium subscriber, not a big deal. I don't want to brag about that, but I have a subscription over there at 4for4. So I did double check with their numbers, and then these are the 2 biggest edges they show in the passing game. Obviously, it's just like, oh, they're 10 yards low. Well, that makes it like 100% edge almost. So Derrick Henry and Zach Moss over their receiving yards, 13.5 and 12.5 respectively. Kind of just basing this on targets and how the game plan is going to go. Like, both of these guys do get targets. Henry has had a game where he's had no targets. Like, that is a thing that 100% can happen. Sometimes these props are fully based on, was that a handoff or was that a forward pass? Like, there's one like 15-yard scamper, and it's like, oh man, they better call this a pass because it was like kind of sideways. So hopefully we just see some nice screenplays right off the get-go. Get this one taken care of. This is a 2-pick power play. Plays 3-1. If you want to play along, you can deposit. And if you use promo code BBB, you get a 100% match. 100% instant deposit up to $100. And spoiler alert, they have basketball too. So there might be some multi-sport entries coming up this year.
You mentioned we got an Equinox. We're going to have to do an Equinox prize pick. Can we put 4 together? I can't remember. I usually do 2 or 3.
I think you can do 5. Yeah, we're going to do an Equinox one.
Oh, we're going to have to do some Equinox entries, yeah.
The only way the Equinox gets screwed up is if the Dodgers get swept, which is honestly it's in the cards. It might happen.
It's on the table.
It's on the table. So
Dan hating this jinx.
We were just jinxing the shit out of his Braves. Sorry. Let's close her out with some tennis, though. We might have a fun tennis. There might be a fun tennis drama, like storyline later in the week. We're not even going to touch on it yet.
I'll say for a second there. I did parlay. This is not one of my official picks, but I parlayed Greek Minin and Allison Van Uytvanck, and it's, if you want to try to put together the pieces here, it's more of an optimistic parlay of the hopes that the 2 of them will continue to advance at least for 2 more rounds. There's a possible 3rd round matchup that could be spicy.
Spicy indeed. So today in Moscow, and I'm not going to try to say this other town, Tenerife.
Yeah, Tenerife. Again, it's in Spain. My Spanish is a little bit rusty, and to be honest, I probably should have tried to that. I think you're actually probably supposed to trill the R in it, so it's probably Tenerife, something like that. But these are all matches that are overnight. To be honest, Moscow, these start like at 3-4 in the morning Eastern time and wrap up at like 10 in the morning. So, if you're on the West Coast, these are definitely going to be, well, maybe you're a night owl and they start while you're falling asleep or you get up very early. But Moscow here, we've got 2 bets again. These are going to be tomorrow, very early in the morning Eastern time. Katerina Alexandrova has had a pretty down year, to be perfectly honest. Really struggled. I believe has only won more than 2 matches in a tournament once all season, but is back home in some pretty friendly confines. She's from Russia. I think actually grew up relatively close to Moscow. Again, Russia, very big place, but back in her home confines, a place she's done very well before. We're indoors, which is very good for her game. She generally plays much better indoors. And head-to-head could be tough in tennis, Andy, and I'm sure you know this. And some of these head-to-head matches are a little bit tougher, but the woman she faces here, Ons Jabeur, she is 5-1 in her lifetime against him, and some really absolutely big wins there. Jabeur coming off a deep run in Indian Wells, having to do the long travel to Moscow, being indoors, not necessarily the best for her. These are some nice conditions for Alexandrova, so happy to grab her as a big underdog. Didn't take her 2-0 or do anything kind of interesting like that. I mean, Jabeur is a very good player. If Alexandrova was in a little better form the last couple of weeks, I'd definitely have like a 2-0 here or something goofy like that. Don't mind it, but just sticking with the plus 240. And then a total here. Annette Kontaveit is going to be playing Katerina Siniakova. I really love the over 2.5 sets price here at plus 170. The total's at 20.5. To be honest, Andy, I could see all 3 sets going under here. This could be like a 6-2, 2-6, 6-2 kind of thing. So I actually might be playing some set unders. If you have someone that you think is going to win this match, bet them to win this match 2-1. There has just been a plethora of 3-set matches for the two of these women lately, especially when the two of them have played each other the last couple times. So happy to go over 2.5 sets here, plus 170. And then in Tenerife in Spain, this one will be early tomorrow morning. I don't have a time yet. Could be as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time again. Victoria Golubic here, a pretty surprising price. He's right around minus 130. There actually is a one place that's a little bit better than that against Arantxa Rus. Two of them coming from Indian Wells, so similar travel conditions. Golubic having a much better season in general this year. I'm just really confused. I had this like at minus 170, almost minus 175, and I had to tweak some stuff down. The first time I ran this, it spit out like a minus 195. I went through and tweaked some stuff for some later stuff, got it down to like minus 170, but this is still the number that's sitting out here, and it's been beat up a little bit. It's starting to move in my direction, but I'm surprised it's taking so long. But Golubic minus 135 here looks like a really nice bet. Happy to back her here against, again, Arantxa Rus, a younger player who's had some success. Maybe these are more comfortable confines for her. I don't know. There might be something I'm just completely missing here, but this number either is going to move heavily towards Golubic or I don't know. Somebody knows something I don't, Andy, but happy to back her at this price.
I'm down. I've never bet in Tenerife yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not.
I think the men have played there. I don't. Yeah, the men might play there. I have no memory of the women ever being there. But it's a funky year. We had Indian Wells in October, Andy.
Football, basketball, baseball, tennis. Kind of a packed show. We didn't do any hockey. Sorry, I have to get some hockey guests. Maybe I'll talk to a couple guys this week. We'll get some of that going. So thanks for joining us. If you are again in the YouTube chat, hit that like button on the way out, and we'll join you here tomorrow, right around the same time. Talk some more sports betting with you. Check you then.